I mean, maybe listen just in case. Get it? The docket is gold. My pockets are swole. Stop, drop, and roll. At lock, I'm the gold. It doesn't get old. Each episode, I just download. I'm just a fella that's hella intelligent now that I got me the code. Build me a yellow brick road. Hey, chillin', feelin'. How could I be this gifted? Millions, reelin'. Frying up all of these fish sticks. Enter all these competitions. I ain't seen no competition. Justice served, can't stop the system. I suggest y'all stop and listen. Please rise, sit down. Pot is in session, get rich now. Invest in the best, yes. The investigator is nothing but fresh. Please rise, sit down. Pot is in session, get rich now. Go by the book, yeah. The lawyer is loyal, now come take a look. Go.
Okay, let's go. Welcome to the DFS Docket on sportsradiodetroit.com, sidelinesquib.com, and the Sport Bums Network. Abe, the DFS detective, Josh Faber here with you for a very special Monday morning episode. Josh, I don't know if you know this or not. This is actually our Monday morning mimosa. So
yeah, well, I'm already drunk, so that counts.
That's from last evening. I saw you, bro, and hey. Please do me a favor and stop driving around while you're that intoxicated. It's a very small residential neighborhood.
I know it puts you in a bad position.
Probably call a lawyer to get you some help. All right, for this super special episode, we don't just do this for no reason. We don't just do this for nobody. Ladies and gentlemen, we have one of the pioneers in the industry. You can follow her on Twitter at Stepmom Lauren. She is somehow so close to 10,000 followers. Who can be the one that makes her there? She's a writer for the Fantasy Footballers. She's over there at Fantasy Pros. She writes for the Football Guys now. She has her own website at which is stepmomlauren.com, and she's the co-host of the 2 Point Stance, which you can see every Tuesday afternoon live on Twitter and later on YouTube. Ladies and gentlemen, Lauren Carpenter.
Lauren, thank you. I feel special.
Nobody gets an applause. So,
I appreciate it.
Yeah, everyone out there is listening right now, and they're like, "Wow, that's a hell of a guest you guys got." So they were going crazy for it and very excited.
I appreciate it.
On today's show, we're just going to hang out, talk about anything. So, Lauren, I want to talk to you about how you got into this industry, right? It's a huge industry, although some would say a smaller industry compared to others, and everybody wants their in, right? How did you get to where you got to be, where you're world famous, have all these accolades, such a great writer? Where did you get your start, and how did all this come to fruition?
Thank you very much. I don't know about world famous, but I'll take it. I will take it. My journey is actually very strange and interesting, but I have a Bachelor of Journalism from the University of Missouri, so I have a background in writing. But with the J School, I actually ended up going through the advertising sequence, so I was kind of going to go down that road, but I ended up playing fantasy football with a bunch of friends. I, learned what it was. This was several years ago. And I ended up winning my very first time ever playing fantasy football. And ergo, I was hooked. So, of course, I loved it. I just started doing a ton of research. I ended up following Adam Rank from the NFL Network, and I got into a league with him. And then we started chatting. I told him my background in journalism, and he's like, "Oh my gosh, well, why don't you do a lot of research on this already. Why don't you write about it?" And I was like, "Oh, I guess I hadn't even thought of that." So I ended up writing a few articles for Fake Pigskin. That was a long time ago. And then from there, I found out the Fantasy Footballers were hiring, who I followed very closely, and sent in an application and ended up getting hired by the Fantasy Footballers several years ago. And then it has just steamrolled after that. And then, I got went to Fantasy Pros, which is super fun. And then NBC Sports Edge, at the time it was Roto World. They contacted me, so I write for them. And then after that, I started working for Football Guys. So it's just kind of like this snowball effect, but I'm crazy when it comes to research and numbers anyway, so might as well write about it and make a few bucks. Have fun. It's weird.
It's all about having fun. I mean, this is why we do this. We're literally talking about a game within a game. Like, we have no control over what's actually going to happen. Who you draft, they can get hurt. It's a very physical sport, so you can't control that. And even on top of that, like, you can put together all the numbers in the world. Be like, this is the absolute perfect guy to play this week. We do it in DFS, right? That's what we do. This is the perfect buy low quarterback. Baker Mayfield playing against Houston. You got all the right things going on, and then what happens? He starts 4 for 15 with 3 interceptions.
I feel like that's very specific, and I feel like he hurt you.
Physically and emotionally, yes.
Okay, so I thought.
I'm actually the resident Cleveland hater on the show, so Abe's kind of trying to, get into my territory there of hating Baker, but we don't like the Browns on this show. Just to put that out there.
Nice. I don't like the Rams, so we can, form some kind of club.
I love hate the Rams. I'm a Lions fan, so now Stafford's there. I want him to do well. I also want him to do terrible. I go back and forth.
I know. I'm in a predicament as well because my husband is a Lions fan, and I despise the Rams because I am from St. Louis. So they left me to go back to their second wife, and now they have Matt Stafford, who I adore. So now I'm also in a begrudgingly, I have to kind of sort of like them simply because I like Matt Stafford, and it breaks my heart.
Is it like the second prettier wife? How do we look at that?
Yeah, it's the second wife who got like a boob job and got a bunch of money,
plastic surgery, everything.
Yeah. Got like a Khloe Kardashian makeover, and they were like, "Bye, see you later," and like left us.
Well, that's how I feel. I mean, the Lions were for Stafford were like they dated in middle school, high school sweethearts, married in college, and then something happened to her, and she did not look right, and he said, "All right, bye."
Josh, what happened was she realized that he's been a 4 his whole life, which is the city of Detroit.
Right.
Oh boy,
a 4 at best. Right. We're like, wait, I have the opportunity to get with an 8 in Los Angeles. Yeah,
you can take it.
You can take the kids with you. See ya.
Take it. Hey,
yeah,
look,
I know. I can't. I mean, and I'm one of those terrible, okay, I'm from St. Louis, and if, like I just said, but if anybody knows anything about St. Louis sports, you guys know how much St. Louis is obsessed with their sports, the Cardinals, the Blues. It's ridiculous. So when they left LA to come to St. Louis originally, there's all these Rams fans that are like, we'll still cheer for you, even in St. Louis. No, like in St. Louis, we're like, you're dead to us. You're dead to us. Like, I am not a good sports fan when it comes to that. So they're gone. No, my new team is now the Saints. So be gone. No, go away.
They left you. You leave them. I get it.
Like, I'm not going to cheer for my ex who's doing really well. Like, would you? No.
Right.
So
how does that work?
No.
Like, how do you go from rooting for one team, like really being emotionally invested in the organization? You become fans of these players. Your history. You're growing up with them. Like, I love Nick Mangold with the Jets, right? Like, if the Jets moved out, I mean, they're not even really New York anyway, but if they moved to Nebraska or wherever it was, Nebraska should get a football team, right? Why
not?
They're a good college town. I mean,
I've always said Nebraska needs an NFL team.
Yeah, me too.
Right. Hashtag Nebraska NFL. All right, fantastic. But like, if my team were to go there, I'd still love Nick Mangold. I'd still love, all those guys that I grew up watching, Wayne Corbett and Keyshawn Johnson and Vinny Testaverde. And like, those would still be the team I would root for. And shut up, bro. You're older than me.
I think I'm older than both of you, so that's okay.
Never ask a woman her age. I've learned that a long
I'm 37.
time ago.
I'll freely tell it. 37.
Okay.
I'll be.
You got me by 2 years.
See, there we go.
All right, well, I found out that Julio Jones is one day older than me today, doing a little research. So by one day, that little mother. But the point I'm trying to make before both of you rudely interrupted me and threw me completely off topic was that if my team left, which is ironic because I actually left the city, but like, I'd still be a fan of that team. Like, how do you go? And I wouldn't be able to start being a deep fan for somebody else. I wouldn't be able to pick up and leave the Jets and be like, yep, now I'm a Chicago Bears fan. Just because I like him or whatever. So, Lauren, how do you go from being a diehard Rams fan to just choosing a completely new team. And then on top of that, like when they played each other in the NFC title game, like what are the emotions like in that kind of game?
Have you heard of the expression, hell hath no fury like a woman scorned?
I live it every day.
There you go. That's how it happens. It's bitterness, it's resentfulness, and there we go. But I do like the Saints a lot. New Orleans has a pretty deep history with the city of St. Louis. I mean, the cathedral in Jackson Square is St. Louis Cathedral. We have a fleur-de-lis on our flag for St. Louis. So there's actually, I don't know, maybe I've been more of a Saints fan than I was a Rams fan to begin with, but I actually really liked college football for quite some time. Like I said, I'm a Mizzou alum, so I followed a lot of college football. So my fandom for the Rams may not have been as deep-seated as yours is for the Jets. So maybe that's why it's a little bit easier for me to just be like, adios, I'm out. I just can't. No, can't do it. I can't do it. But also don't forget too, I'm a fantasy player and manager and lover of all things fantasy football first. So that doesn't mean I'm going to, completely hate on Rams players. Like I said, I love Matt Stafford. I have a signed helmet by him, like right behind me over here. And, I love him, but I'm not going to just scorn him simply because he plays for the Rams. Now, will I go out of my way to be like, I have to watch a Rams game? No, I'm not going to do that. But I will like their players, like Robert Woods, who I really like too.
That's the most reason to be a Jets fan I can ever think of. Because this way, I can watch all my Jets games and not have to worry about like, hey, get this guy the ball. Because it doesn't matter. Because you can't articulate having any Jets players on your current fantasy lineup ever. At least not in the last like 5 years or so. So I mean, it's the perfect reason to be a Jets fan.
Come on, Jamison Crowder. He's a consistent PPR monster.
He's a human being. You're correct. He actually lives and he shoots up for a few games. But you live down in the Florida area, correct?
I do. Yes, I do.
So why choose the Saints as opposed to like Jacksonville or Miami or Tampa, depending on which part of the lower region of the country you're at?
It is a really good question. And I don't know. I didn't get the feelsies. I didn't get any feelsies for it at the time when it was my time to make a decision on which team I'm going to root for. And even though I moved away from St. Louis, I do still love St. Louis. And I wanted a team that was a little bit closer, maybe more closely involved with St. Louis. There were some rumors back in the day that the Jaguars actually might be moving to St. Louis. I don't know if those were founded or not. But
those are rumors. Just
the Jags were close. Like the Jags were close for me to be like, okay, because they're also my favorite color, which is turquoise. And I was like, I can get on board with this. I actually bought a Jags t-shirt, but it didn't fit right. It didn't feel right. But the Saints feel right. I'm a big color person too. Like as much as they're like, oh, well, you're a girl, so you just like look at mascots, whatever. I mean, like I guess you can kind of say that when it comes to, colors. But I'm a Mizzou girl, like I said, black and gold. Saints are black and gold. St. Louis, they're fleur-de-lis. St. Louis Cathedral, lots of city. Plus, I love the city of New Orleans. The French Quarter is one of my most favorite places to go in the entire world. I love that place. So it's like, this feels right. This feels right. And plus, Drew Brees was really good when he was there. Speaking
of New Orleans football, by the way, is there a better place? Because every time I go, this is not the question I wanted to ask you originally, but is Cafe Du Monde just the only beignet place, or are there others that like?
Oh, there's others, yeah.
Yeah. Are they as good?
There's other places.
Should just be Cafe Du Monde next to me.
It's kind of hard to beat fried powdery sugar. So I mean, it's all going to be good.
Bag. It's like you get like it's like a brick of what looks like cocaine, but it's just powdered sugar.
It's amazing. Yeah.
So
it's absolutely amazing.
After.
It's amazing also.
Oh my God. Yeah. I think Finnegan's Easy has the best Bloody Marys. Last time we were there, they were closed. So I don't know if that was like pandemic or whatever. I'm not really quite sure, but anything there is good. So yes, there's other places besides Cafe Du Monde.
Okay, I'll have to check it out. So going from my one love, beignets, to the second love, fantasy football. Talk to us about the fantasy scene down with the team in New Orleans with the Saints. I mean, who's going to be the starter, you think? And which quarterback helps raise and elevate the fantasy prospects of the rest of the players on that team more?
That is such a good question, because I can honestly make an argument for either Jameis Winston or Taysom Hill to be the starting quarterback. I don't know what the offseason is going to bring. I'm not exactly sure if Taysom Hill is going to be assuming that role like he did when Drew Brees got hurt last year for those 4 weeks, or if this has really been a grooming scenario for Jameis Winston. But I think for me personally, when it comes to fantasy relevance, I want Jameis Winston in there as the quarterback. Maybe not for real football and winning. Maybe he's gotten a little bit better than his 33 turnovers.
He got the LASIK. He's good now.
Sure, I guess. I don't know. Did his eyes bother him seeing what color the people's jerseys were when he were on the field? When he was on the field? I mean, I don't really know. But he'll chuck it. He'll chuck it far. That really brings Michael Thomas into the picture. There's really kind of what are we going to do for a wide receiver 2 situation there? The tight end situation is a little weird, but Jameis Winston actually did target Alvin Kamara quite a bit more as well. I think he was only in for 34 snaps or something. Don't quote me on those numbers, but it was not very long, and he managed to target Kamara a lot. Whereas it took Taysom Hill 3 weeks or 2 weeks to even get him more than a handful of targets. So for me, I would think for fantasy, I would like to see Jameis Winston in there. For real football and winning, maybe Taysom Hill would be a little bit better, but you're talking about 2 completely polar opposite quarterbacks, right? Taysom Hill uses his legs and Jameis Winston uses his arm. So I don't know. I would like to see Jameis Winston in, but I have a feeling that might be a split situation. If one bombs, the other one has to take over. And who knows? Maybe it'll be Ian Book by the time the season's over. I don't know. It's gonna be crazy either way.
I agree with you because, well, it depends, I guess, who I own. First of all, I happen to own Taysom Hill in a couple of dynasty leagues, so obviously I'd like to see Taysom Hill be the start. I don't own any shares of Jameis, but talking about numbers, I think Jameis hits the running back significantly more than Taysom Hill does. So if you have Kamara, and obviously we know Kamara does as much or even more damage catching the ball as he does carrying the ball, that if I'm a Kamara owner, I'm certainly looking for Jameis. But interestingly, if I'm a Michael Thomas owner, I feel pretty good about either one, and maybe even better about Taysom Hill because it's funny. Michael Thomas is that big body receiver who pretty much does most of his work for some weird reason, almost as a tight end. He's doing, crossing routes. He's doing, a lot of slants. They move him inside sometimes. Taysom Hill, I think actually his numbers were showing a little bit better hitting Michael Thomas there, whereas opposed to Jameis's strengths, they're kind of downfield. I don't know who the Saints' downfield receiver is. Michael Thomas isn't really an X receiver, so.
Well, I mean, you can make the case for Traquan Smith could be that downfield threat, but there's not a name that really jumps out at me and says this is my identity as in the wide receiving core. It's very nebulous and kind of blah. But yeah, I don't know. I guess maybe you're right because there was, I think, one game where Jameis Winston played a pretty heavy amount of snaps. He targeted Kamara, I think, around 10 times. Yeah. And it took Taysom Hill 3 weeks to get him 13 targets. And one of those games, he ended up seeing 10 targets with Taysom Hill. I don't know. There's not enough, like I said before, identity amongst that offense yet for me to really have a clear picture of which one is going to be better. I just have a feeling that it'll be Jameis Winston. But Michael Thomas can play any position. He can line up out wide and go down deep. He can create that kind of separation, But if he's the only one that all these defenses are focused on is because him and Alvin Kamara, I'm nervous about that. They need to have something else to help draw defenses away, to help spread the field out. Otherwise, we are going to see either Taysom Hill or Jameis Winston constantly be force-feeding the ball to, either Alvin Kamara or Michael Thomas, and then we're going to see turnovers again. So I don't know. I'm curious to see what's going to happen in the offseason with that team and how preseason is going to shake out, how OTAs and how mini camp, training camp, all that kind of stuff are going to shake out. So we'll see. I wish I had a better answer for you besides just we'll see. I don't know, but that's what fantasy football is. It's educated guessing.
Exactly.
It's funny. We're actually tomorrow night we're going to be recording our quarterback rankings episode, and Josh sent me his list. And on the list, it doesn't say Taysom Hill or Jameis Winston. It says whoever the hell is starting for New Orleans.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
that is true.
It
works.
Lauren, I don't know if you know this or not. I actually interviewed Sean Payton earlier this week, and I asked him specifically, will you tell me who the starting quarterback is going to be? And I recorded the audio, and here's what he said.
Oh, hell no.
He doesn't want to tell me anything.
He can't know, right? I mean, I don't think Sean Payton knows the answer to that question even at this time. I mean, it's just such a funny thing. Last year, Breeze goes down. It was very clear Taysom Hill was his choice to be the starter. They signed him to an extension. Granted, it was a weird one that sort of just
it was just to play with the numbers.
Yeah, it was just to play with the numbers, but
the Jewish
I mean,
guy running all the doing all the numbers behind.
Right, but he's making more than Jameis. They're paying him more than Jameis. I forget what Jameis is on this new contract. I know last year was just a $1 million base salary contract.
I think it's 12 million.
Is it 12 million? I think it's
12.
Okay.
I think.
But so either way, it's like if he liked Jameis, why wasn't he starting Jameis last year when Breeze went down? And why?
I wonder if there's what kind of development that he thinks he needs. Was he not ready yet? I mean, I don't know. I was surprised that it was Taysom Hill over those 4 weeks. I was kind of convinced it was going to be Jameis Winston, like a lot of people were, and they were going to use Taysom Hill as that kind of Swiss Army knife type of role, and that didn't happen. And it's weird. I don't know. I don't know. I wish I had a crystal ball. Actually, if I had a crystal ball, I wouldn't be doing this. I would own Belize. And
yeah, I'd be a lot richer than I am now.
Yes, me too.
From a fantasy perspective, I think we're all in agreement that we all want it to be Jameis, right? When Jameis was a starter 2 years ago with Tampa, he was the number 5 quarterback overall with throwing 30 interceptions. So just imagine if he didn't, how well of a season he would have had. And on top of that, he had 2 top 12 receivers in Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. So we know he can facilitate to the best of the best and put up huge fantasy numbers. With Kamara will get his, Michael Thomas will get his. I think everybody's starting to absolutely love Adam Troutman. I think he's going to go way too high in a lot of these like redraft leagues because I think people are just going to be like super high on him. Where, don't get me wrong, I love Adam Troutman, but to take him as anything but a streamer right now at this point is a little dangerous. Now, in a dynasty league, it's a little different, but in a redraft league, it's a little worried. I'd much rather have Jared Cook and the consistency of somebody I know of what he's going to do.
Yeah.
But I'm all in on Jameis being the guy there. I want Jameis to be the starter. Jameis can absolutely just sling the rock. And if he throws 25 more interceptions, whatever. Who cares?
Yeah.
He's still going to get his fantasy points. And yes, as a Saints fan, you might not want to see that. You might want to see the consistency of Taysom Hill and win a whole bunch of 14-10 games. But from a fantasy perspective, no, let him blow it out. Let him win games 35-31. Like that's what I want to see.
Yeah, but I agree with you. I agree, but NFL coach speak is turnovers are a death sentence. You know what I mean? And that's got to be why. That's what the holdup is.
Well, I know.
It's like
got traded because he couldn't hold on to the ball.
Right. And look, we know in fantasy, right? A touchdown base league is 4 points. Sometimes you have a 6-point, premium, and an interception is only 1 point. So, all right, give me 30 touches and 30 interceptions. I'm still going to be fine. But you look at an NFL coach who says 30 interceptions. That's why he went from the first overall pick to third string behind a glorified tight end.
So, Lauren, I know your Tuesday show is a lot about news and notes, the news of the week type of thing. So I don't mean to step on any toes here, but this is all coming down the pipeline right now. So I'm going to bring it up, and you can tell Dave to screw himself. He'll know what I mean. But
I think he's watching right now, so I think he just did.
He was earlier when you and I were actually conversating, and said something. I told you, like, tell Dave, screw you, and tell him it's for me. He DM'd me right away and said, screw you too, buddy. So
I told you I would.
Yeah, no, that's fine. That's fine. But Julio Jones, this whole thing is getting messier and messier. I think we're all in agreement that Julio doesn't want to be there anymore. He doesn't want to be through a team that just picked 4th overall. And I think Atlanta is thinking, yes, we did just pick 4th overall, but we have a lot of older veteran players, and we're built to win now. And we got a new coaching staff, and I think a lot of last year was once they lost a lot of games early, last minute type of games, and once you're in that position, you start to like deteriorate yourself and not really want to be there anymore type of thing. And that's why I think they were as bad as they were. But reports this morning are saying that Atlanta is looking for a 1st-round pick for Julio. I think that's crazy. That's not going to happen. Not for a guy that, as I found out earlier today, is one day younger than me. So he's 32 years old. He'll be 33 in like 8 months from now. But his cap hit over the next couple of years is around that $20 million range. That's a big number for a guy that's 32. And we haven't seen any decline. No reason to think that. But we've seen it historically. The great guy, Andre Johnson, I think, is a great comp to Julio Jones. Similar type of players, big bodies, get down the field, out physical people, and just freaks nature. And Andre Johnson basically fell off the earth once he went to Indianapolis. Just his skill set diminished immensely. And I'm afraid of Julio Jones doing something like that as well. So not to step on tomorrow's shoes toes, but
Go ahead, do it.
But what do you think of Julio Jones, and is any team going to give him a 1?
Okay, so I just want to touch base on something you had mentioned before, that you didn't see any kind of decline from Julio Jones. I did. He dropped a pretty significant pass from, was it not Calvin Ridley? Who was their other wide receiver?
Russell Gage.
Yes, Russell Gage. That was a little uncharacteristic of him. So maybe just a little blip on the radar. But he also only played 9 games last year. That's not very great when it comes to sustainability and longevity. So yeah, it would be hard to expect or receive a first-round draft pick from an elder statesman who may not be staying on the field every single game because of some injury concerns. I don't want to say injury prone. That's not what I'm saying. Injury concerns, age concerns.
Cancel culture will come after you if you call somebody injury prone.
Possibly. People come at me all the time. It's fine. I'm used to it. Like, I just need to chop it out of the way. It's fine.
So if he were to get dealt, where do you think he would go?
Honestly, I have no idea, but I believe he came out over the weekend and said that he wanted to be traded to the Patriots. I kind of wanted to tag him and be like, you do know that Tom Brady's in Tampa, right?
You do know that's where receivers go to die, right?
Yes. Besides Detroit.
Right.
So,
well, no.
At least he didn't want to go there.
We get them dead. That's different.
They never actually.
They've never lived when they're here.
Well, hey, there's that. But I honestly, he better stay a Falcon. I think he will. I don't think he's going to be on another team come 2021 start of season. I may have just cursed myself there, but I don't know. It's really hard for me to see him in any other jersey besides that red and black. So, man, I don't know.
Pick for him?
That's what Atlanta want. Atlanta reports today are saying that Atlanta wants a first-round pick.
I've also heard that they've turned down some pretty big offers for him too. I don't know the specifics on those, but the rumor mill is a buzz.
Yeah. The NFL trade market is so weird. When it's like, it's almost like a new car. You say you have a new car, you drive it off the lot, it immediately just drops down in value.
Yeah.
Like the market for like to move up 3 spots in the NFL draft in the first round, it's like okay, we need 40 first-round picks in your firstborn child. But then you have a Pro Bowler, someone who has a Pro Bowler the year before, and it's like, all right, well, but you've been in the league for 7 years, so give us a 5th-round pick and a bag of balls, and we got a deal. So, it's like what is Randy Moss was? Didn't he get traded for like a 3rd-round pick or something, or a 5th? Something ridiculously low, and that was still when he was sort of in his prime. Was before.
Yeah, but Randy with the Raiders wasn't.
He wanted out.
Good,
he wanted out bad. He didn't care what it was.
Sure, but and I guess maybe that when the player has an attitude. But I remember even back to Snacks Harrison. We traded a 5th-round pick for him. He was a Pro Bowler the year before, and it's like, okay, you want out? All right, well, fine. We'll take a ball boy. Let's get a deal going.
Well, it's more about the money than anything, then, because you're giving up a weak draft pick, but you have to pay the salary now, and it's not so much about paying the salary, but you got to fit it into your salary cap, and that's what I think the biggest thing with Julio Jones is: what team is going to take him on? Right, he's going to want to go to a good team, although for some reason he wants to go to the Patriots and play with Cam Newton, but you're going to want to go to a good team, and if you have a good team, odds are you don't have the money to spend another $20 million on an aging wide receiver. So I don't know where he can fit. Yeah, you can go to the Jets and they have the money to pay that, but great, you're going to win 4 games. Is that really what you want to do with your career? And it's not I guess theoretically he can restructure his contract to go somewhere else. I mean, who knows? But he played ball at Alabama. He's from the southeast part of the country. And I usually, in situations like this, I usually look at where they come from. Where do you want to go to finish off your career? And I was thinking Atlanta.
He was in a Cowboys sweatshirt.
He's a Cowboys fan?
He was in a Cowboys sweatshirt the other day. I don't know. Someone posted a picture.
They don't need any more wide receivers. Stop it.
What about this? What about Abe? I got one for you. I know you'll like this. What about a team that's primed to win now?
Bro, the Lions aren't primed to win now, bro.
Well, fine. Forget it.
I think he would be a great fit for the Chargers. Are you kidding me?
What about Green Bay? Right? They don't pay it. They just paid Aaron Jones, but most of they have one skill position player who is on a big contract, right? If they could keep Aaron Jones there, maybe make him a little bit happy to stay by getting him a weapon like Julio, pair him with Devontae, Aaron Jones, I think that could be a good look. And I think they have the money for it.
It would terrify from a fantasy standpoint.
I think Aaron Rodgers wants out of Green Bay so badly that he'll be like mad if Julio Jones goes there because then he'll have to stay another year.
Right,
so he actually might talk Julio out of it and be like, "Don't go to Green Bay, bro, because I'm not going to be there." Like
right.
I don't know.
Aaron Rodgers is sliding into his DMs, be like, "Bro, this place sucks."
There were some rumors coming out that that's what Aaron Rodgers did last year. It was like, I don't know if I'm going to be here. Don't look at a trade to come to Green Bay because I don't know if I'm going to be here or not. I'm unhappy. And we're still having that this offseason too. So it wouldn't surprise me if that actually, something like that actually did happen. Like I would want to know if I were Julio expecting to go to Green Bay and having a quarterback like Aaron Rodgers throw me the rock. And then suddenly he's like, JK, I'm not showing up. It'd be like, dude, why didn't you tell me?
Enjoy Jordan Love.
Yeah, right? Yeah.
So, Lauren,
Who's
I
not
know
ready?
we're almost done here, I know. But one last question, one more speculative question for you. Where do you think Aaron Rodgers is? And and if he's going to leave Green Bay from a fantasy perspective, where do you like to see him go? You want to see him replace maybe your old buddy from Mizzou, Drew Lock in Denver? Or there's some rumors about Oakland. What do you think?
There are no teams in Oakland.
All right, Vegas.
Vegas. If he does go to Denver, I would hate that for Drew Lock because I want Drew Lock to have one full year to actually prove if he can do it or if he really sucks. I'm a Drew Lock truther. Homer bias, I get it. Don't come at me. Like I already understand this, but could see him with the Broncos, but I really, really, for some reason, think he might go to the Raiders. That would be really interesting because Derek Carr doesn't suck, but he's not elite like Aaron Rodgers is. And it's kind of in that part of the country where Aaron Rodgers feels comfortable, sort of close to home. Man, that would be pretty fascinating if he were with the Raiders.
So
now, do I know or think where he's going to go? I have no idea.
People keep saying Raiders, but I get confused by that
I
because
like the Raiders.
if I'm him, I'm going to a team that I think has a chance now. I'm going to a team that
And it's not the Broncos.
It's not the Broncos, but at the very least, they have I shouldn't say established per se. They have one in Cortland Sutton, but Cortland Sutton,
Jerry Jeudy.
If he wants to be with a team that wins now, he'll stay in Green Bay.
Right.
Because that's what I don't get. Like, what
but
do you want? Like Aaron Rodgers, what do you want? Do you want more offensive weapons? Maybe then they go trade for Julio Jones and they just throw whatever it is out the window. Like, do you want us to hold your hand while you wipe your butt? I don't know what it is that Aaron Rodgers expects from this, but if he wants to be on a team that has Super Bowl implications and championship implications, he will stay exactly where he's at. But he hates Green Bay so much that he still is just like, no, peace out, I'm gone. So I don't really know if I buy into the argument of like,
and at that
he
point,
wants to be on a team that's going to win.
Right. At that point, retire. When I go to Oakland, so, I really want to be on the team that just drafted 7 safeties. Like, I mean,
maybe whatever. Maybe they're like, here's a homemade chef and we'll give you foot massages every single night. That's what I don't know. Like, what team is promising him whatever it is that he's looking for? You know, like I don't know what it is that he wants. So I don't know what team can fulfill a need that I don't know exists.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
I think the perfect place for him to have gone already got their new quarterback this year. And I think the Rams would have made perfect sense.
I do agree. 100% agree with you. The Rams would have been a perfect fit for Aaron Rodgers. As much as I do dislike the Rams completely, I do agree with that one.
The win now mode. You really have the
Sean McVay,
weapons,
and
LA.
And you don't need to travel very far to do your your Jeopardy gig because it's
exactly
on the street. It's a win-win. All right. That's all the time we got for today. Some of us have to go back to work before we get fired from our jobs. So, Lauren, again, thank you so much for joining us. We originally scheduled this for Mother's Day. I thought it was going to be perfect. Unfortunate circumstances occurred, but we are so happy to have you a couple weeks after. Again, everyone, follow her at Stepmom Lauren. She's so close to 10,000 followers. You can be the one. And she told us backstage, whoever is a 10,000 follower, we'll get some sort of gift. Is that correct? Is that what I heard correctly?
Absolutely, for sure.
Absolutely. I'm going to unfollow just to try and be the 10,000 followers.
He's going to make a bunch of burner accounts right now.
Right.
And follow
just
you.
like sign. Hey, I'll take it. Just don't unfollow me after that.
Absolutely. Check the website out, stepmomlauren.com. You can find everywhere where she writes. It's all on there. It's all posted there. but it's, I mean, the top level people in the entire industry. So with that, Monday Morning Mimosas is now over.
I mean, maybe listen just in case. Get it? The docket is gold. My pockets are swole. Stop, drop, and roll. At lock, I'm the gold. It doesn't get old. Each episode, I just download. I'm just a fella that's hella intelligent now that I got me the code. Build me a yellow brick road. Hey, chillin', feelin'. How could I be this gifted? Millions, reelin'. Frying up all of these fish sticks. Enter all these competitions. I ain't seen no competition. Justice served can't stop the system. I suggest y'all stop and listen. Please rise, sit down. Pot is in session, get rich now. Invest in the best, yes. The investigator is nothing but fresh. Please rise, sit down. Pot is in session, get rich now. Go by the book, yeah. The lawyer is loyal, now come take a look. Go.